all been told that once you hit your 40s or 50s, that declining in our physical capacity that comes with age is inevitable. That the pain, the stiffness, the slowing down, the inability to reach over and tie your shoes, all of those things are just products of aging. But here's the truth. Data does not support that. What actually falls off first is not the body, it's the mind. And I'm not talking about dementia, Alzheimer's. I'm talking about the breakdown that you have is a psychological belief that you're falling apart. There was a study that looked at athletes that were running a 1-mile race, and they compared them across the age gaps. Now, a lot of folks expected that the older they got, that the slower the men would run. And while that was true, what shocked everyone was just how little of a drop there was. In the year, the winning male between 50 and 70 ran the 1-mile race, in 4 minutes and 34 seconds. That same year, a high school runner ran it at 4:17. That's a very, very small drop off. But what's more important is that the 70-year-old winner of the 1-mile race that year ran it under 7. That's right. 70 and older and ran the mile in under 7 minutes. That's an exceptional time no matter who you are. So let's sit here and think about it. If you talk to the average middle-aged man that's holding 30, 40, 50 pounds around his waist, he'll be quick to tell you that the reason he's out of shape is because he's old. What I tell people at Soldier Fit is that we have I am on the front of our shirts. Now, people ask all the time, well, why do you have that? And it's really simple. It's because I am is the most powerful phrase that anybody can say. Because everything you say after I am, you are. And so for so many guys that are getting in their 30s, their 40s, their 50s, they start falling apart, not at the physical level first. They fall apart at the mental first. They fail the mind game. They ascribe to the belief that I am old, and therefore because I am old or older that I should start falling apart. I've often told people you find what you're looking for, and so if you believe and play into the game that everything is age related, anything you experience negatively, maybe you wake up one day, you're a little sore, you're a little tight, I'm just old. And this begins to lay the foundation of the framework in which you see a world where letting your body deteriorate is just a natural byproduct of throwing in the towel. I want you to look at this. The numbers show us the work. There is not a huge collapse. 40 and 50-year-olds are running it at 4:34, and 70 is still running at sub 7. The capability that these individuals maintained over time didn't have anything to do with luck, and it had everything to do with the discipline to train. Listen, we're talking about a just small margin, 417 to 434. That means that in your 40s and 50s, you can still absolutely be crushing it. The truth being told, the 70-year-old shows us you can crush it at 70. Now, granted, there's a couple minute drop off there, but still, that's marginal at best. What you need to you need to find by first looking for a reason to believe that your body does not have to fall apart. You have to get rid of the thought process that says, because I'm old, I can become infirm. I can become slow. I can take it off. Now, I firmly believe that as a man ages, he should definitely change the way that he trains, but the man should still train. The man should still aspire to get stronger. The man should still aspire to be in the best physical condition of his life. I know countless men who have got in phenomenal shape, truthfully the best shape of their life in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, because they had the determination to make the mind shift that would allow them to go do the work that was necessary. But so often when we look at this, we think only of the temporary discomfort of that, of maybe being a little sore the next day, maybe feeling like we're going to be dying on that run. But doesn't that pale in comparison to actually dying? Because when you allow yourself to get out of shape, all the thing you're doing is committing slow suicide. Listen, research has proven we're not going to see that dramatic biological drop-off until our 70s, if you take care of yourself. And even with that, much of the decline is tied to training reduction. That means people stop pushing, people stop identifying as capable. and people stop moving with intent. I always use this when talking to people when they come into the gym. I want you to take a minute. I want you to think to yourself, do you remember that guy or that girl that were absolute studs or studettes in high school or maybe college? Phenomenal athletes. And then maybe you still hang around them, or maybe you bumped into them at a reunion and they have completely let themselves go. Now, far too often what people throw up is life. It got busy. I've got a wife, I've got a husband, I've got kids, I've got a career. But what I've learned is that's not actually the thing that causes the shift. The shift is how they identified. So let me explain. Have you ever not been busy? When you were in high school, you were busy. My 10-year-old daughter is extremely busy. She has play dates, she has the schoolwork, she has things to do with our house, she has things to do with her mom's house. So she's busy. And it's only going to get busier as she finds herself in high school, she finds herself in college. No matter where you are operating to your capacity. When you take on more responsibilities, you get more capacity. That's just the nature of the beast. I've always said, if you want something done, give it to a busy person because they have a track record, proven track record of getting things done. And when we look at the gym, everybody that's in the gym, what do you think? They don't have responsibilities? You think the people that take time to take care of their health, they don't have a career, they don't have a spouse, they don't have kids, they have all of that. But they made a decision to go. And here's the difference. If you look at that same person when they were in high school or college, or maybe even they made it to the pro level, they looked at themselves as an athlete. They said, I am an athlete. And so therefore, because they were an athlete, it didn't matter what it is that they had to do. Professional athletes are extremely busy, but yet they always make time for the gym. And it has jack shit to do with, that's what they get paid to do. It has everything to do with how they see themselves. Now, where we start to see people fall off is when they leave that athletic career. Again, doesn't matter whether it's high school, college, or pro, and they say, I am a former athlete. That qualifier is what allows them to start skipping the gym. It's what allows them to start eating poorly, because they are a former athlete. And so we have to understand that we need to shift the psychology, right? We need to not dwell on these common phrases that people love to say, I'm too old for that. My knees don't do that anymore. That's a young man. The truth is, you need to sit down there and say, I am capable, and maybe I can go ahead and find myself an exercise program that will rebuild my capacity, because your knees work, they bend, they flex. They just don't have the capacity to go for a long hike right now. And it would be foolish to try to put them through that on day one. But we can begin with a walking program that sees us start where we are. Maybe we just begin by getting extra steps every day. Maybe we start factoring in a 1-mile walk each morning, and then we slowly build up on that. So with all that being inside, what I want to do is I want to reframe the way that you look at aging. Aging isn't about shutdown. It's about making adjustments. It's about you don't stop moving because you're old. Instead, you move to ensure that you can get older. Because if you do stop moving, I promise you, you're going to quickly come to the time that you really stop moving. So here are 5 practical anchors to keep training well into your 70s. Keep the intensity, but adjust the volume. You don't need marathon sessions. Sprinting, lifting, pushing, all of this stuff can be scaled, but be present. Comfort is where decay lives. Strength train for life. Muscle is hands down the number one thing that you should focus on. It is protection. It supports joints, hormones, confidence, and independence. The goal is no longer PRs. The goal is instead never becoming weak. Tip 3. Don't remove fundamental movements. Running, jumping, carrying, hinging. These will preserve your body and nervous system. You don't need a lot. You just need consistency. Treat your recovery as a weapon. Allowing your body time to refuel, rehydrate, doing your myofascial release, looking into getting massages. Come on, you make a little extra money nowadays. Go ahead and spend that on something that's going to really benefit you. Find yourself in the sauna. Consider an ice bath. Just make sure that you're maximizing your recovery. You prioritize it. And more importantly, make sure you're getting your sleep. And lastly, kill the old identity. Stop joking about being broke. Stop labeling things with age. Listen, the better question you should be asking is, what do I need to do to keep training? Bruce Lee once said this. He said, never talk negatively about yourself because the subconscious mind does not understand that you're joking. If you sit there and tell everybody, including yourself, that you're too old to do this, then I promise you will find yourself right there, feeling broken and old. If a man in his 50s can run a fourth and a 70-year-old can still show up and compete, then the problem is not your biology. It's right here. It's the psychology that you're looking at life. And my brother, I hope that you make a decision to change that frame of reference so that you can be here for the long haul, for the people that depend on you. Keep living your life. Head down, horns up. And as always, if you've got any questions, drop them in the comment section below. Feel free to like, subscribe, and share. And until next time, salute.